Alright, so now that you know just the basics of music reading, all the notes on the staff, sharps and flats, and you understand what the major scale is, I'm gonna teach you that first way of constructing a major scale. So, if you remember, all the notes, they go from A through G, right? So we have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then we get to continue on. A, B, C, and so forth, G, F, E, and they repeat indefinitely. Okay. There are two terms that you need to know: whole step and a half step. I talked about half step earlier with the sharps and flats. All the notes, the relationship between each and every note, they're all whole steps except for two spots. They are B and C, that's a half step, and E and F, that's a half step. So A and a B, that's a whole step, half step. C to D, that's a whole step. D to E, whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step. Here's a half step again. You see that? That's how it would work. Now, the easiest major scale is a C major scale. Again, when I say C major scale, everything is built on that C. C is your center. C is your home note. So we get to start with letter C. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and we complete it by arriving back on the C. C to D, that's a whole step. D to E, whole step. E to F, it's not one of the two exceptions, that's a half step. Whole step, whole step, whole step. B to C, another exception, half step. When you have this combination, it doesn't matter where you start. If starting from any note, and then you create or you align the rest of the notes based on this relationship, you will have a major scale. Whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, half step. Remember we talked about the sharps and flats, and I told you that the sharp will make you to go up by a half step, and flat will make you go down by a half step. So here is how you look at it. Whole step is whole step equals two half steps. One whole step equals two half steps. So if you could imagine here, that's a C. There's a stop here. There's a D, E, because E and F are just half step. For they're right next to each other. G, A, B, C. So whole step, we get to go 1, 2. Whole step, half step, whole step, half step. Whole step, and a half step. You see that? Let's say I want to construct a D major scale. So what that means is that I want to start on a D and start that whole step, half step, whole step, half step all over, starting with a D. So if this is a D, we have to align everything else. Actually, no, let's do it this way. D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D. Remember, again, we have to have this relationship. Whole step, half step, whole step, half step. D to an E, that's a whole step. So that one checks out. E to an F, that's a half step. So if this is an E and that's an F, right? That's a half step. So we already know that E is part of D major scale. So therefore we cannot adjust or add anything to this note. We must adjust and alter F to create that whole step. It's a half step right now. So what we need to do is add a sharp to an F so that it would move away from an E. So we add F sharp. Notice how I wrote the sharp after the letter? When I'm using the staff, sharp comes before the note, but here, sharp comes after. F was here originally, G was here. F and a G, that's a whole step. But that F is now an F sharp. Notice how it got closer to G. So F sharp to G is now a half step. And that's exactly what we need, so we're good. G to an A, that's a whole step. A to a B, that's a whole step. B to a C, that's a half step. B, C, but we need a whole step, right? B, C, that's a half step. We know B is part of D major scale, so we need to alter that C. We do that by adding a sharp. So we now have a whole step. C and a D were originally a whole step. So if C is now a C sharp, it is closer now. So it is a half step apart. So we now have this. This is method number 1. You could do this to anything. You could pick any note and construct a major scale based on whole step, half step, whole step, half step by adding sharps and flats. Method number 1.